Yes. Hello. My question will be on race, basically. But I'm going to. I rather not get any viewpoints about religion about this, because the topic is really centered on race. Amongst the different races in Singapore, what would you say are the cultural differences between us? Because when I think about it personally, my culture, my way of life, even though I'm of a different race from many of my other friends, is really very similar to theirs also. And in answering this question, there is also the next question of whether race in Singapore is actually relevant also. Because if our cultures in Singapore are actually quite similar to each other, then race, which has usually been used as an ethnic ground for our different cultures, race will just become less and less important, and therefore less relevant in our society. Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, Minister and Dr. Khor. I'm Joel Chen from Serangoon Junior College. And I want to ask this, sir, what are your views on mixed marriages? Because I would say that some races, they do not like mixed marriages because it would tarnish their culture.
Okay, thank you. Perhaps now we'd like to give Minister and Dr. Khor a chance to reply to the last questions. Thank you.
I think there's one question about how serious are we in tackling the race and religious issue, how much resources that we'll pour in. First of all, I think it is really not a question of how much resources the government need to pour in or ought to pour in to tackle this issue, but more about every one of us being willing to play our part. Because maintaining racial and religious harmony is really not about how much resources we ought to pour in. Perhaps attention, I think, in terms of government trying to encourage people to talk about this, to find out, and so on and so forth. So in terms of resources, I would say that yes, we have always, put in resources in different organizations, different institutions to try and encourage programs, activities that will foster racial and religious harmony. But ultimately, it is really about each one of us being willing to, being willing to come forth, being willing to appreciate and accept the fact that we need to strengthen our racial and religious harmony in order to be able to progress in Singapore. There's another question about economy, whether why PM didn't touch on this or didn't really quite touch on this. In fact, PM did touch on this, but the big chunk was on racial and religious harmony, and I think he did give assurance that the government will continue to keep an eye on the economy, and in fact, towards the end of the year, we'll be reviewing the resilience package again to see if we need to do anything more for the economy and to help people to cope. Data was given about the economy. In fact, I think second quarter 20.4% increase, but third quarter, I think he mentioned that it looks okay, but going ahead beyond third quarter, we are not sure. Christmas orders are not really coming in. So I think these are some of the figures. Where you can find this information, I think in the media, you go to MTI website, you'll be able to find quite a bit of this information. If your parents are really affected or you don't know where to go for help, publicize my CDC. You can go to the CDCs for assistance, job, financial, and so on and so forth. I think these are the two questions. Yeah. Okay. Anything else you want me to answer? The energy one I did already. Yeah.